Nice day here in Baltimore on this final Sunday of the NFL's regular season. Ted Marchibroda would love his Ravens to play well here today because he says of all the losses this year, the only one they were truly, really outplayed in was the game in Houston. 29-13, they had a rough day. Jeff Fisher, 7-9 last year, 15-22 overall. But a little baby step would be to get to 500 and finish 8-8 in his second full season.
Jeff Fisher's done a good job with this team. There's a lot of young players. This team has a lot of talent. They haven't played exactly the way they wanted to play with the results, but they should be a good team next year.
Here's Mel Gray taking the ball from his 9-yard line on the opening kickoff. Gray has a nice seam, steps out to the 47 to the 49-yard line.
A terrific block there by the tight end. Michael Rohn had a terrific, what I call a pancake block.
But it's coming back because it looks like there might have been a block in the back along the way out on the run by Gray.
Number 90 of the receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
James Roberson is hit with the block in the back, and so Mel Gray's 40-yard return is wiped out.
Jim, watch this block right here. Oh, excuse me. He hit. Terrific block, knockdown right there. Opened up the hole for Mel Gray. Unfortunately, there was holding by James Roberson.
So the ball comes back now to the 27-yard line. That's a big loss. They were out near midfield. And here's Steve McNair starting at quarterback today for the Houston Oilers. In the backfield, he'll have Eddie George, the lone back, as they come out 1st and 10 from their own 27. A quick drop, short drop, and he rifles a pass across the middle. Donnie Brady is on the coverage of Willie Davis, who made the catch, and he's out to the 35-yard line. Here's a look at the Oilers' starting offensive lineup. McNair in the backfield, joined by Eddie George. Frank Wycheck is a University of Maryland grad, and so he's got a big day back here in the H-back spot. Sanders, Davis, and Lewis. It's a good offensive line. Hopkins, Matthews, Stepnoski, Donnelly, and Eatman. Matthews and Stepnoski going to the Pro Bowl. Second down. And a little more than a yard to go for a first down with Ronnie Harmon in the lineup and in motion. Eddie George, first run, nothing. In fact, he might have lost a yard back to the 35-yard line.
Jim, in talking to the coaches, go ahead.
Take a look at the defense. Footman, Frederick Jones, and Pleasant, the front four, as they'll go back and try and stay with a 4-3 defense here today. They've just been banged up defensively. A look to the linebackers in secondary. Two rookies, a great one, Ray Lewis and Donnie Brady on the corner. Lewis is back in there. He's had some problems with a hip pointer and was forced out of the game last week. It is a big play now. Third down, they did lose a yard, so it's 3rd and 2 back at the 35.
They've got their substituted nickel defense in there.
McNair in a bootleg. He could run for it. And he will. Gets the first down. Antonio Langham chases him out of bounds. But it will be a 1st and 10 for Houston.
In talking with the Ravens, one thing they did say about Steve McNair over Chris Chandler is that he is a better runner. He's a guy that will pull it down and he will run. Being a young guy, probably not as comfortable in the system. He's done that. He started 5 games. He's a guy that's got a lot of playing experience this year, and he's demonstrated that he's willing to run with the ball when he needs to.
Not only that, but he got just what he needed and got out of bounds and didn't take a hit. So he'll stay healthy and in that starting role a lot longer if he continues to make decisions like that. First down, Eddie George, and nothing again. Gogenius slices in with James Jones, and Eddie George, his first 2 carries, well, he lost a yard on his first one, and he got nothing on that one.
Eddie George is a strong back, and the key to Eddie George is watching him during the course of the game. He's a guy that gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. In talking with the Ravens, they made it an emphasis. Said a key to this game, Ted Marchibroda told us, was to stop the run. They're going to bring in 8 guys. Watch Eric Turner or Stephon Moore, the safeties. They'll come up on run support much more aggressively today than they would in a normal situation. So they can stop Eddie George.
Second down and 10. Good protection from McNair. Down the sideline for Harmon, makes the catch up on his shoulder pads and is into Raven territory for a first down to the 42-yard line with Donnie Brady on the coverage.
On the replay, we're going to see Ronnie Harmon is lined up right there. He takes off. He goes out of the picture. Steve McNair sees him. They got Ronnie Harmon to do exactly this. He's a guy that can break it all the way. Anytime he touches the ball, he's very elusive. He's a guy that catches the ball well. He runs the draws well.
And he did a great job in getting those feet down in bounds because he really was going backwards towards the sidelines. It was a gain of 20. First down in Baltimore territory. Eddie George, and there's a hole. George breaks it down the sideline. Eddie George, and he goes down inside the 5-yard line to the 3 after his first 2 rushes of the day. Got him nothing. He breaks it 40 yards.
Eddie George is that type of back. You think you've stopped him, you keep stopping him, but they give him a little hole.
Officially a gain of 40.
Offensive line did a good job. He goes right through there untouched. He makes Eric Turner miss. He goes down the sideline for 40-yarder. This is only his second grass game as a professional athlete in the NFL. In his first game against Jacksonville, he broke along with about a 75-yarder. He's showing that he does well on the grass.
Now they'll give him a big blocking back. The H-back, Frank Wycheck, is in the backfield with him. Eddie George to the right side, slams down near the goal line, and he'll get stopped just short inside the 1.
Ray Lewis did a good job of filtering through the traffic and of getting Eddie George to stop at him before he's able to get into the end zone. Ray Lewis is one of the first-round draft picks they had, along with Jonathan Ogden, their left guard. They put him right into the lineup, kind of the baptism by fire. He's a guy that has played extremely well this year with 129 tackles.
7th play of the drive, 2nd down and goal from inside the 1-yard line for Houston. Eddie George again, and he's in for a touchdown for the Oilers on their opening drive of the game. The rookie out of Ohio State breaks in for the score.
We'll watch a replay. Eddie George, the thing that he says that he feels most comfortable about is his awareness. As he takes the handoff from Steve McNair, it's designed to go outside. He sees the opening at the last second inside. He simply darts inside and scoots in for the touchdown.
So Eddie George had the big run of 40 yards and then brings it in for the touchdown. Al Del Greco for the extra point. Reggie Roby to hold to try and give Houston the 7-0 lead. And the kick is up and good. So the Houston Oilers go right in on their first drive of the game. Eddie George takes them down the field, going in the final 1 yard. 7-0 Oilers. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Baltimore, just 3 days away from Christmas. Merry Christmas to Eddie George and the Houston Oilers on their opening drive of the game. George rushes for 41 yards on 5 carries and goes in for the touchdown, and the Oilers lead 7-0. Baldwin on the kickoff return for the Ravens, and he steps out over the 30, out to the 33-yard line, and that's where Baltimore will begin. Vinny Testaverde comes in, starting his 16th game, as Bart mentioned at the top of the show, going all the way. Ray Etheridge will get the start at wide receiver, the rookie, along with Derek Alexander, who's been banged up all week with a sore shoulder, but he'll play. A great rookie offensive lineman, Jonathan Ogden. Watch him on that left side, and all around a good Ravens offensive line. 34-yard line, first down. Baltimore playing from behind early, 7-0. Bam Morris is the back in the backfield for the Ravens. Testaverde with a little bootleg, throws high for the tight end Brian Kitchen, and it's incomplete. Let's check out the Oiler defense, which, like most defenses and offenses at this time of the year, is banged up. So you have a couple of rookies starting on the right side, Bryant Mix and James Roberson. Bowden, Wortham, Barrow, good linebackers, and a terrific secondary. Dishman Lewis, Blaine Bishop going to the Pro Bowl, and Marcus Robertson. 2nd down and 10 for Vinny Testaverde, who was a little bit high and wide on his first pass of the day to Brian Kinchey.
It was a good mix-up play, though. It was a good play, boot action, which had the defense going.
On 2nd down, they throw for Michael Jackson, and it's incomplete, broken up by Darrell Lewis. The crowd screaming for a flag on Lewis, but they do not get one, and it will be 3rd and 10.
Let's watch an isolated replay of this. Darrell Lewis comes quickly. He watches the break. He gets there a little bit before the ball. Fans may have been right in their assessment.
What makes this just so impressive for Lewis and Dishman is that they're man for man most of the afternoon. They're one-on-one with their receivers. Third down and 10.
Yeah, and a lot of that one-on-one is what they call a press.
Testaverde away from two would-be sackers. Incomplete for Jackson out at the 45-yard line. A great defensive start for Houston as they were buzzing out there on that series.
Testaverde did a good job of avoiding the pass rush. He filtered out of the pocket on the sideline. Michael Barrow comes inside. Testaverde gets outside. They missed the sack. He buys himself plenty of time, but that Houston secondary, as you said, who is so good, they stayed on those receivers. They didn't give Testaverde the opportunity to get an open guy.
Montgomery to punt, first of the day. Mel Gray is standing back at his 20.
Montgomery has a strong foot and can really kick the ball.
Gray calls for a fair catch, and Houston will start their second possession after a 48-yard punt at their own 17-yard line. They lead the Ravens 7-0. We'll be right back. Back at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Jim Donavan along with Bart Oates. The Oilers lead 7-0, about to take over the ball for the second time this afternoon. They march right down after getting the opening kickoff. Eddie George went in for a touchdown, and they start inside their own 20 at the 17, with Steve McNair getting the start here this afternoon.
The Oilers playing that 8-man front they said that they were going to play.
They dump the ball off, and it's dropped. Dropped by their tight end, Roderick Lewis. And we'll check in on that big Indianapolis Colts Bengals game in Cincinnati. Here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, Jim, big to the Colts. If they win, they get a playoff game at home. But Jeff Blake gets on the board first for the Bengals. 10-yard touchdown pass to David Dunn with the extra point. It's a 7-0. Bengals lead on Indianapolis in the first quarter, Jim.
Jim, the Cincinnati Bengals played the Oilers last week and upset them, or the Oilers would be in the situation Jacksonville is in this week.
Real spoilers. Here's Eddie George on the carry, and he'll get a couple out near the 19-yard line, and they'll come up third down and very long, third down at about 8. George on the year now, 1,324 yards rushing coming into today. He was 1,283 with 7 touchdowns. And he's added a touchdown now and has 8 on the year.
If you look at all those guys in front of him, they're all going to the Pro Bowl. Eddie George has got numbers that are equal to a lot of the guys going to the Pro Bowl. Some people mention that he should be going, but as a rookie, he's got to build that reputation.
Third down and 8. Good protection. High throw, but a nice catch by Derek Russell, and Russell's out to the 39-yard line, and the Oilers have a first down.
Derek Russell is that third wide receiver they'll bring in to complement Willie Davis and Chris Sanders. He's the guy that can make big plays. He likes to get in the seam. Here you see the arm strength that Steve McNair has. He throws the ball. Derek Russell makes a good adjustment to come back. Derek Russell makes that fake inside, simply goes out, and makes a good stretch to catch that ball. Good concentration by Derek Russell.
21 yards and a first down. And another thing, excellent protection for McNair in the pocket. Get a lot of time to pick out Russell. Back they go to Eddie George. And George buries his head and goes over the 40 to the 43-yard line.
The Oilers are throwing a little... They're throwing some tendency differences in here. They've got Ronnie Harmon lining up with Eddie George in the backfield. Usually it's Frank Wycheck that lines up as the H-back, but here we have Ronnie Harmon, usually a third down back. Jerry Rome is putting a little tendency breaker in to throw off the reads of the Ravens defense.
Second down now, 7.
Ronnie Harmon lines up split out here.
Again, McNair a lot of time, and he throws to Frank Wycheck, who pulls down another high McNair throw. He's now 4 for 5 throwing on the day, but everything's been upstairs, and yet they're adjusting well and making good catches.
Frank Wycheck lined up, goes off. He's lined up in the true tight end spot. And as you mentioned, he does throw a little high. Tendency is when you're a little nervous, you're not following through completely. You're throwing a little bit off your back foot instead of shifting your weight until the ball stays a little high. I think he'll settle down. He's got that arm strength. He's throwing the ball where he wants it, just a little bit high.
That's the 51st catch on the year for Wycheck. Third down now and 2, and they will not get the first down as the Raven defense is in the backfield and brings down Ronnie Harmon for a loss of 2.
Good defensive movement up front. Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator, said that he was going to move his defensive guys around. They're moving around. A little confusion there. You see Frank Wycheck is, instead of running through there and making a block, he's tiptoeing, and the lead blocker can't do that because he's got to get out of the way for that lead for the running back. He didn't do it there. Good defensive stand by the Ravens.
Roby's first punt. Jermaine Lewis calls for a fair catch, and at the 14-yard line, that's where the Ravens will start. And we'll be back to Memorial Stadium in a moment. It's Houston leading over the Ravens 7-0. Vinny Testaverde brings the Ravens up for their second possession of the day, and they'll start inside their 15-yard line at the 14 after a 41-yard punt by Reggie Roby. The Ravens trail 7-0. Testaverde looking for his first completion of the day. He's got Michael Jackson wide open. And Jackson's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Baltimore. 86 yards.
What a nice throw by Testaverde. A good job of Jackson concentrating and catching the ball and then turning it up the field, staying in bounds. And with the speed that he has, he outruns Marcus Robinson and goes in for the touchdown. Look at the touch on the ball. Jackson catches it and then it turns up. The Jets go, and Marcus Robinson is not going to catch Michael Jackson.
It's the longest scoring play of the season. 86 yards for Michael Jackson. He feels he was a Pro Bowl snub. And lights it up here on his first catch of the day. Matched over for the extra point. And this game is even at 7-7. Testaverde's first completion of the day is an 86-yard touchdown strike to Michael Jackson.
Testaverde says, I like it a lot. He's going to his first Pro Bowl. Michael Jackson, we asked him, he says, well what did Vinny give you as a gift? Because he gave his offensive lineman a nice watch, and he's giving them cigars, and he's giving them champagne during the year. Michael Jackson says, all I want from him is the ball. As long as he gives me that ball, I'm happy. I don't care about the other things.
It's the longest reception in Michael Jackson's career. His 12th touchdown of the year. There's no question, really, Bart. He makes a lot of good points that he should have been voted to the Pro Bowl.
Well, he feels it. He feels he should have been in the Pro Bowl. He's teamed up on the other side with Derek Alexander, who also has over 1,000 yards. But nobody had more touchdown catches than he did in the AFC. Carl Pickens had 11, as he did. If you look at the other 4 guys, you say he does have a stand. He does have a point. And look at his yards per catch. He's better than the other guys. He just doesn't have the number of catches.
And of course that would go up after that 86-yard reception. So he is the big play guy in the AFC. Here's Mel Gray from his 6. And he is chased out of bounds. Ray Etheridge knocks him out of bounds after a 20-yard return. Let's check in with Greg Gumbel right now in New York for another update on this big Sunday in the NFL.
All right, Jim, in Cincinnati, the Colts have pulled even, and they do it with defense. Jeff Blake intercepted by Jason Belzer, who returns 21 yards for the touchdown. The extra point pulls Indianapolis even at 7-7 at Cincinnati. Jim?
7-7 here also. Houston and Baltimore tied up. 6:01 to go first quarter. After that big play and a big grin, Michael Jackson, 86 yards for the touchdown from Vinny Testaverde.
Well, that's what this offense, the Ravens offense need, is guys to make the big play. That's a big play.
Eddie George. And he waits for his blocks right there, and he gets out to the 34-yard line. He really does. He's not a running back. I mean, he takes on contact, Bart, but like there on that run, he waits for his blockers to set up.
He's got the patience. He's feeling very comfortable in this offense. He's getting a sense of timing with this offensive line. It's a symbiotic relationship.
What? Wait a minute, Dave.
What? Well, don't you remember that from school? With that offensive line. I mean, the offensive line, you got 2 Pro Bowlers. It's a very good offensive line. They make Eddie George look good, and he makes them look good.
Second down and 4. That will be a first down as he breaks it over the 40 to the 41-yard line. And again, you're watching a lot of secondary people have to come up and make the stop on him, along with Keith Goganius. Stevan Moore was in on the tackle. First down, Houston.
This Ravens defense, they're playing what I call an over defense. Offense does a good job of scooping. You see Stepnoski and Matthews doing a good job of scooping up the nose tackle to the linebacker. This is a team that the Ravens cannot stand in there and play man-to-man against this Oilers offense. They've got to slant. They have to move and hit gaps in order to stop this running attack of Houston.
It's a short throw out on the sideline, and Willie Davis catches and brings it out over the 45 to the 48-yard line, and a good decision by McNair.
It helps a quarterback, a guy like Steve McNair. He started 3 games. This is his 6th start. He's still young in the league. He's not real comfortable. To have a dominating running game, to have a running game that takes the pressure off of you, puts you in short situations, it helps the quarterback because he's able to be more aggressive with his passing game.
Ronnie Harmon in the backfield now. McNair off to a good start, 5 for 6 for 64 yards. George had a little trouble gathering in that handoff as McNair and George kind of bumped into each other a little bit. Goganius and Footman bring down Eddie George, and it will be 3rd down and 4.
Situation, you've got 2 rookies, 2 young people back there, the quarterback and the receiver. You look at it, in a minute, you very seldom see that problem with the handoffs, but they practice that. They practice it and practice, and they practice it in training camp where it becomes instinctive. Here's a situation, you've got 2 young guys. They collide in the backfield. They weren't able to pick up a first down.
3rd down, 4. And he bobbled the snap, got it back. Boy, is he an athlete or what, as he dumps it off to Ronnie Harmon, and it's going to turn into a huge play as Harmon is down inside the 10-yard line. It started out as a disaster, a fumbled snap, and it turns into a 43-yard pass play to Harmon. 1st and goal, Houston.
Unbelievable. Ronnie Harmon is the guy. He's right here in the backfield. He'll come out and come around. Steve McNair drops the ball, has the presence to pick it up. Who's he look for? He looks for his guy, Ronnie Harmon. Ronnie Harmon, they're trying to cover him with Ray Lewis. You cannot cover Ronnie Harmon with a linebacker. To do that is suicidal. They're going to make big plays all day unless they change that matchup and put a defensive back on Ronnie Harmon.
Harmon, 2 catches, 63 yards already today. 1st and goal, just inside the 10. Eddie George. And he got really disturbed in the backfield by Footman and brought down by Ray Lewis.
Footman made penetration. We're talking about moving those guys around. Footman's lined up. He takes an inside slant. He gets into the backfield, makes Ronnie Harmon cut. He takes his momentum away. Although Footman is playing, he broke his arm on the 6th game of the season, broke both bones in his arm. He's playing with a big cast on his right hand. Couldn't wrap up Ronnie Harmon, but he prevented him from getting any positive yards.
2nd down and goal. He actually lost a half yard as they're out over the 10. McNair pulls it down and gets tripped up from behind. Good play by Mike Frederick as he tipped over McNair just inside the 10-yard line, because I think if he got away from Frederick, he had a little bit more room and could have maybe gone the distance.
Well, there's not a lot of room down there. You're inside the 10-yard line. Teams are packed up pretty tight. The defensive line did a good job of recognizing when he pulled the ball down, coming off their blockers, and Mike Frederick did a good job of getting to McNair on that play. 3rd down and goal. McNair has 3 wide receivers now set up to the top of your screen, 1 down at the bottom. And the fans are getting loud.
McNair into the end zone for Harmon with Benny Thompson on the coverage for the Ravens. It's incomplete. They'll have to settle for 3.
More success on that play by the Ravens. Benny Thompson, guy that likes to talk a lot, he's out there. He's covering Ronnie Harmon on that play. They bring the linebackers off. They didn't try to get Ray Lewis on or one of the other linebackers. Put a defensive back on a Ronnie Harmon. That's where you're going to have the success. They had it on that particular play.
So Jeff Fisher would have loved to have seen them be able to go in there and get that touchdown, but now one of the best around, Al Del Greco, will attempt his 32nd field goal make of the year from 27 yards out. There's a flag down as the kick is good.
I was talking to Del Greco a little bit earlier before the game, and he said that a lot of the guys...
And it's going to go against Houston. Looks like someone might have tripped.
A tripping call.
Yeah, that's 2 minutes in the NHL. We'll check out the call here.
I think it's 10 yards in the NFL. But Del Greco said you see a lot more.
Tripping. Number 55 of the kicking team. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, fourth down.
You see a lot more. You see shorter field goals in the NFL. John Henry Mills, Pro Bowl special team player, going for the AFC. Gets called for tripping there. We talked to him yesterday. He says he's excited about going to the Pro Bowl. He says it'll be the first game that his father will be able to watch in person in Hawaii because they live in Okinawa.
It's now a 37-yard field goal attempt by Del Greco. Same result, right down the middle, and good for his 32nd make of the year. And Houston re-grabs the lead with 1:12 to go in the quarter, 10-7. Al Del Greco, with that 37-yard field goal, has just set the Oilers' single-season point record total. He broke his old record as he made good from 37, and Houston leads now by a score of 10-7. Into the eyes of Jermaine Lewis as he waits the Del Greco kick.
Del Greco said that he's going to play as long as he can, says he's kicking better than ever.
Again, they kick it away from Lewis, and Randy Baldwin returns out over the 30 to the 34. 24-yard pickup. Good. Michael Rohn on the tackle. Good
field position by the Ravens. You get out over the 30-yard line, the offense can execute whatever they want to do. However, they've only thrown passes so far today. They've only had 4 plays, all of them being passes. You think that's a little bit odd. You've got a Bam Morris. You've got an offensive line that is averaging well over 300 pounds. You'd think you want to run it. Howbeit, this Oilers defense is the second best run defensive team in the NFL, only behind Denver.
On first down, Bam Morris gets the football for the first time today, and he'll get about a yard out to the 35-yard line.
So they are going to try to mix it up. They want to give Bam Morris the ball a little bit. Bam Morris has been a great addition to this team. He's come in. He's brought a lot of power to this team. Ernest Biner was the guy that they were using early in the year. Ernest is a 13-year player, but he has that quickness and that shiftiness. They bring in Bam Morris. He has that power. He runs low. He runs straight ahead. Ted Marchirota likes the way he runs. He thinks he's going to be a terrific player next year when they get him in that offseason program.
Second down and 9 at the 35. The Oilers looks as though they jumped offside. Testaverde might have nailed him on a cadence right there.
In this situation, you see...
Or somebody might have jumped off. The Oilers pointing that there might have been a false start up front. Here's Larry Nemmers.
False start prior to the snap. Number 87, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Floyd Turner is hit with the penalty. That will cost them 5 back near the 30.
Floyd Turner, the wide receiver, at the way at the top of your screen. Watch Floyd. Just moves a little bit. It's hard to tell. Couldn't see much movement there. Looked like that the defense were jumping more in the hard count than they were being drawn off by the wide receiver.
Time of possession, 46 seconds so far for the Ravens. On the carry here by Bam Morris out over the 40, and he's up near a first down near the 44-yard line. As that is the end of the first quarter here in Baltimore. The Oilers leading over the Ravens. 10-7 back to Memorial Stadium after this. Back in Baltimore at Memorial Stadium on this final Sunday of the NFL regular season, and it is final for these two teams. The Ravens trying to come up with their 5th win of the year. All 5 would be here in Baltimore if they pull it off. Houston trying to get to 500. First quarter numbers heavily slanted, especially time of possession towards the Oilers.
Baltimore threw the ball. They weren't running the ball too much. They only had 2 runs that first quarter, just trying to throw the ball. The Oilers were able to maintain the ball control. They used Eddie George to run it. They were passing the short passes, and then they had a couple of big plays. But then again, the Ravens also had the big long one to Michael Jackson.
86 yards for a touchdown. Bam Morris on that carry got 14 yards and a first down, and they're out at their own 44-yard line as we start the second quarter. Testaverde, he's got Michael Jackson again, and Jackson gets pushed back by Darrell Lewis, and we'll see where they spot him. Where he caught the ball, he had a first down inside to the 44-yard line of Houston, and I think that's where the spot will come, and another first down for the Ravens.
Testaverde gets a nice pocket there. He throws to Michael. Darrell Lewis has covered him. Michael Jackson has a comeback. He does a good job of coming back to the ball. Darrell Lewis is playing man-to-man, playing off of him. Testaverde throws the ball. He's got, admittedly, one of the best arms in the league, one of the strongest arms, he always has.
They're actually arguing about the spot. As I said, when he caught the ball, he had the first down. But then he got pushed back, and now referee Larry Nemmers is saying, I think that Jackson was the guy that was trying to make the extra yardage there.
Well, the argument is you want to spot it at his spot of progression, but he was continuing to fight, and he lost a few yards.
Second down, less than one instead of having the first down. Testaverde 2 for 5 on the day. They'll get the first down here. Bam Morris into the secondary to the 35-yard line. Darrell Lewis and Blaine Bishop bring him down after an 11-yard run.
Terrific run. Bam Morris is the guy they want. Watch over here. This is Jonathan Ogden. He pulls around.
12 for the first down for Bam.
Watch him run. Jonathan Ogden is a big guy. He's 6'8". He's 325 pounds. He runs like a small guy. They love him. He's a left tackle that's playing left guard. He's playing left guard because he can.
Morris on the day now, 3 carries, 27 yards in his last 2 carries have gotten them a first down. First down inside the 35-yard line. The Ravens trail 10-7, second quarter. Morris again, and he's down to the 25 and near another first down. He'll pick up 10 yards. They're doing this against a terrific defense against the run.
Jonathan Ogden is a guy that's come in as a rookie. He was one of the high P's right here at the left guard spot. Does a good job. Watch the team blocks. He goes up to Michael Barrow or Joe Bowden. Creates a hole. The Oilers are not giving good outside support here. They're getting some good holes. And Bam Morris is a guy that's going to run north and south. And he's going to make some positive yards.
First down at the 25-yard line. Testaverde seems like he's changing the play. And not in time, or he got the timeout. It will be a timeout for Baltimore instead of having to take the 5-yard penalty. 10-7 Houston, and we're right back. Jim Donavan along with Bart Oates here in Memorial Stadium on a cool day. I guess the Oilers would say a cold day, though.
Well, for the Oilers who play indoors in Houston, it's a very cold day for them. They haven't had any cold games this year.
First down, a blitz coming. Baltimore picks it up into the end zone for Floyd Turner, and a great recovery and interception by Marcus Robertson. What a play! As the ball was just a bit tardy, and Robertson raced over to steal the ball from Floyd Turner and the interception.
Floyd Turner makes a nice route going to the corner of the end zone. Testaverde takes it. He looks a little bit left, and he looks back to the right. And the problem is Floyd Turner is wide open. Marcus Robertson does get there, but you've got to say that's Testaverde's fault. He lobs the ball. He should have put more on it. He should have gotten it there quicker. He knows it was there. He knows it's his fault. You can't leave the ball up in the air in the NFL. The defensive backs are too fast. They're too quick. You've got to get the ball there as quick as you can.
Robertson with the interception sets up Houston with a first down at their own 20. They lead 10-7. Bootleg rollout. McNair in trouble. And just dumps it into the Ravens sideline. Incomplete, intended for Willie Davis as he gets it, throwing it out of bounds. Dan Footman was on the chase on the play, and he was right in the face of McNair all the way throughout that play.
Steve McNair, they use the boot. They want him to run the ball a little bit, get him out in the open pocket, let him get out there. Brian Mix gives him chase on that play. He can't make the tackle because McNair is just too elusive. And then he does the wise thing. He throws the ball out of bounds, throws it where it cannot be intercepted.
McNair 5 for 8, 64 yards on the day. 2nd down and 10 to Eddie George. And he gets out over the 20 to the 23-yard line. Unpiling there is Eric Turner and Dan Footman. Footman playing very well here.
Footman is a guy who's come back 2 games ago. He's got the big cast on the arm, protecting the arm that was broken. The Ravens are doing a good job. They're setting up like they're in a regular defense where they've only got 7 guys in the box, where you've got the 4 defensive linemen and the 3 linebackers. And then they're bringing one of the safeties, whether it be Stephon Moore or whether it be Eric Turner, up quickly right at the snap, and he creates an 8-man front, and there's too many guys to block.
3rd down and 7 now for McNair. Ronnie Harmon into the backfield. He drops the ball again. Ravens jumping down, trying to rip the ball away, but they're signaling that it will be 4th down coming up for Houston. That's the 2nd time today that McNair has had trouble on the exchange. On the first one, he ended up with a big pass completion.
You see the fumble snaps. Mark Stepnoski, number 53, the center, all-pro center. He was with Dallas. They won a couple of Super Bowls. He's been working with Chris Chandler. The timing is a little bit different with Steve McNair. Now, you can work with it during the course of the week, but when you get into the game, things get a little bit quicker, people get a little bit tighter. You've seen 2 fumbles here already early in the game.
Roby to Jermaine Lewis. It's a short punt. Lewis can return this one. He has some room. But then the Oilers came in quickly and knocked him down after a 40-yard punt. And we'll be back here to Memorial Stadium with the Oilers leading 10-7. So far, that's what Vinny Testaverde has done today. An 86-yard touchdown pass to Michael Jackson. 1 interception, and he threw it into the end zone. He is just now 35 yards away from joining this club. 4,000 passing yards and 30 touchdowns. What's important to remember, all of those guys, when they've done it, their teams have had records over 500. That will not be the case with Testaverde, as the best they could finish is 5-11 with a win here today. Testaverde's going to run right into a sack, and a big sack as he ran right into the arms of Roberson and Young. Roberson just turned around, and he was right there, and it could be upwards of an 18-yard loss on the sack.
James Robertson is playing in place of Anthony Cook, who's injured. Vinny just rolls out. He's looking to his right. Then he wants to go back to the left, but he can't see anything. It looked almost as though this was a screen pass they were trying to develop that never developed. James Robertson is being blocked by Brian Kitchen, which is not an easy assignment for a tight end. It results in a huge loss.
24-yard line is where the ball is now. 2nd down and 27. Testaverde could almost make up everything that he lost, and he does on that scramble out near the 41-yard line. So the 17 yards he lost on the sack, he just about gets all of that back.
Offensive line does a good job of taking their defensive linemen, pushing them by the pocket, and there's a wide open field. Vinny, first he thought he was going to try to make a move on the defensive back. Then he wised up and said, let me just run straight ahead. He picked up the yards. Now it's a manageable 3rd, albeit it's still 3rd and long.
3rd down and 11 yards to go for 1st down. Joe Bowden finally brought him down on that last play.
You've got Ernest Biner lined up in the backfield.
Biner slips out of the backfield as Testaverde picks out a receiver. And the ball is ruled initially incomplete, and now they say it's a good catch, and I think that's a good call. Floyd Turner makes the grab inside the 50-yard line over into Houston territory, close enough, I believe, for a measurement, as they'll call the sticks in. They're at the 49, and that's where they need to get to. Let's judge and see if he's got that. Yes, he does. It looks as though he had that one all the way.
Very nice throw. Replay, you watch. Floyd Turner makes his cut. Vinny throws the ball the only place the defense, they got the 1st down. Those are the only place that the receiver can catch it. The defensive player can't make a play on it. This is something that Vinny has improved on. His decision making, he's always had the arm, as we said earlier, but his decisions have been suspect. He's made too many bad choices. He's thrown those interceptions. Good choice good decision on his part on that play to pick up that 3rd down Here they were at 2nd and 25, and they wind up with a first down.
They're in Oiler territory now, and they go back to Bam Morris. Morris changes directions on the run and turns it into a very nice run as he gets dumped out of bounds by Lenoy Jones. Inside the 45-yard line to the 44, but he had a no-gainer there at the start of the play.
Jim, on that particular play, there were a lot of... Bam Morris is the guy that you tackle him up hard, you're going to get run over. When you try to tackle him low, he's going to jump over those arm tackles. There were several guys throwing those arms out trying to tackle him. You're not going to do that against Bam Morris. You may do that against a lighter back, a guy that's not as strong, but a Bam Morris is going to run right through him. He's going to pick up some good yards.
On 2nd down and 5. Oh, and they move off the left side. The left tackle, Tony Jones, releases early. And that will be a false start going against Baltimore and cost them 5.
False start prior to the snap. 66 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
We see Tony Jones there. Tony Jones is lined up at the left tackle right next to Jonathan Ogden. He's all by himself. A guy that's over 300 pounds, when he moves like that, you're going to see him. He can't hide out there. Tony Jones, there's a lot of speculation. This might be his last game as a Baltimore Raven. He's got a salary cap figure average about $2.5 million a year. You've got a guy right next to him, Jonathan Ogden, that many people think will be a perennial Pro Bowler at his natural position, left tackle. This might be his last game as a Baltimore Raven.
2nd down and 10. Bishop blitzing from the safety spot. Testaverde dumps it off, and Ernest Biner makes the catch and gets shoved out of bounds by Michael Barrow. That's why the boos. And now Biner gets right into the face of Barrow, and Tony Jones comes over too. Biner made the catch right at the sideline, and then Barrow just delivered him into the Ravens bench, and I think the crowd thought it was a bit too harsh.
Terrific job. Michael Barrow's a guy that's played a terrific year. He might have hit him a little bit in the white area, but it's hard to hold up. Michael Barrow's a guy that's a free agent. They've got to keep him. He's one of the guys they need with this defense. Jeff Fisher likes him. He likes the way he runs. He can put him in a linebacker spot where he plays. He puts him up on the line of scrimmage like he is right now. Testaverde takes another timeout.
Did not get the play in time, and so they're forced to use a timeout. And they'll only have one left until the end of the half. 10-7 Houston. We'll be right back. Back to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Welcome to the graveyard, they say. And look, good heavens, it's Santa in the birdcage.
Hey, let him out of there. He's got work to do. The graveyard sounds very reminiscent of maybe the dog pound.
Maybe. It is 3rd down now and 4 yards to go for a Raven first down. Ernest Biner is in the backfield. Biner reappearing now in the Ravens offense as a blitz from the outside by Steve Jackson, and they're going to rule that Testaverde was down. Larry Nemmers, the referee, says that Testaverde was down, although he never actually went down. And then, of course, Testaverde rolled away and started on the run. So it's all the way back to the 39 of Baltimore. Steve Jackson on an 18-yard sack.
They've had a couple of sacks, big sacks. Steve Jackson comes from the outside. Testaverde, the bigger guy, he pushes him off.
Well, what about that? What about that play?
Well, you know, you got to be fair to the defense. You see Steve Jackson coming in there. That's Testaverde with the forearm. He never really has control of him. The umpire, Nimmer, says, well, as long as we're going to call in the grasp, or as long as we're going to protect the quarterback, it's like we got a delay of game.
Delay of game is going to be called against the Ravens. They are not managing the clock that well at all here in the first half. Testaverde twice now has had to use timeouts because the play clock has been running out on him, and this time on a punt. They get nailed for 5 yards. Here's the special teams coach of the Ravens on the sideline.
They need to be more alert with the clock. That's the up back, the fullback. He's there. He's the guy that's got to watch the clock. He wasn't doing it in that situation.
So Scott O'Brien wants his punt team to get down there and cover on Mel Gray, and they do. Down over the 30-yard line to the 33. It's a 39-yard punt.
Jim, as we're talking about, he really wasn't in the grasp, as you saw, of Steve Jackson. Testaverde wasn't. But they've changed the rules to protect the quarterback. They say, okay, we're going to blow the whistle. We're going to let you throw the ball away. Here he was being held on long enough where the umpire felt that he was in the grasp sufficiently I can't fault the call because of the desire to protect the quarterback.
And on that possession, Testaverde took losses of 35 yards. He took a 17-yard sack and an 18-yard sack. First and 10 now for the Oilers, leading in the game by a score of 10-7. McNair to Eddie George out of the backfield. Stevan Moore will chase him down, and George just breaks out of the tackle and carries for a first down out near midfield. Eddie George, 13 yards, and a scuffle. Breaks out. That was Brad Hopkins, the left tackle, getting all the way down the field like that to help out George, and he gets off the pile, shoving.
Eddie George comes out of the backfield. Have some good blocking. Here's Eddie George, the runner, the guy that's going to make people miss. You see Brad Hopkins coming in, kind of finishing up. He knows the camera's on Eddie George, so he says, well, I'm an offensive lineman. One of the few ways I can get in is either holding or get downfield in the play. He got downfield. Good hustle by Brad Hopkins.
And a first down for George as he gets the ball on the run now, and he goes into Ravens territory out near the 48-yard line. Dan Footman and Goganius, along with Stevan Moore, team up on the tackle. It will never really be one person that can bring Eddie George down. You're always going to have to see 2 or 3 bring him down.
Eddie George is a big, strong kid. You see him without the pads on. He's got strapping arms. We talked to him early in the season. He bench presses 420 pounds. Most of his linemen can't even bench that much. He's got the big legs. A lot of people compare him to the Earl Campbell, except he's much taller. He's probably the tallest running back in the NFL, and yet he has that ability, that unique ability at the point of contact to get low.
And there he is, and he gets nailed right there. Now, if he, of course, will get brought, he gets the ball so much that he's not going to chew up the yardage on every play. But you wonder now, Eddie George, coming off the Heisman year, is he the Rookie of the Year? And this is his case right now, coming into this ball game today, but already he's even added to that.
Exactly. But probably the only guy that might be in the running as well would be Terry Glenn, a rookie Ohio State teammate of his. He's a guy, the two of them have come in and have had outstanding years for their respective teams.
Now it's 3rd down and 3. George comes out. Ronnie Harmon comes in. McNair could run for the first down. And again, a wise decision. He does, gets the first down, gets out of bounds as Antonio Langham was closing, ready to hit him.
A good play. You've seen this. You see Chris Chandler on the sideline. McNair just has a straight rollout reminiscent of the run and shoot. He sees it's open, and as you mentioned, very wise decision, stepping out of bounds, avoiding an unnecessary hit. There's no reason to take the hit. He gets the first down. That's all he wants to accomplish.
Chandler gave him a little tap on the helmet last week when it seems as though the baton might have been passed for the final time to McNair to take over the position. Eddie George on the run inside the 35 down to the 33. A couple of weeks ago, though, Bart, when Chandler was not starting in the big game against Jacksonville in the Astrodome, Chandler really had nothing to do with McNair throughout that day, and in fact a lot of people thought he was pouting. Then he started against Cincinnati, didn't get it done, and when he was lifted in place for McNair to come in and take over, he kind of tapped him and said, it's yours to do now, take over.
It was a nice gesture on his part, showing his support of Steve.
2nd down, and a lot of traffic. No running room for Eddie George that time as he runs into the arms of Anthony Pleasant along with Tim Goad.
Good penetration by the nose tackle, defensive tackle, Tim Goad, former Patriot. Comes in, he has good penetration. Eddie George has to make a cut before he has to. On the replay, you'll watch Tim right there. Watch him come through. There he is with his penetration. Stepnoski's trying to block him, but he's offset. It's a very difficult angle for Mark Stepnoski, the center of the Oilers, to make. Tim Goad gets the penetration and is able to stop Eddie George.
3rd down at 6. Dumps it across the middle to Chris Sanders. It's going to be a first down as Sanders is brought down by Donnie Brady at the 24-yard line, but Houston gets the first down. First catch of the day for Sanders, good for 13 yards, and McNair bought himself a little time with some good movement in that pocket.
Here's we watch the replay finish up. Watch him step up. Very nice. That's a good awareness of the pocket. He still keeps his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage so he can deliver the ball when he sees it open. It's a good job by Steve McNair of being aware of the field, keeping his eyes downfield, and yet being able to avoid the pass rush of Anthony Pleasant in that particular case.
First down. A blitz coming from Eric Turner, but Eddie George blocks him on it, and a short gain inside the 20-yard line as the catch is made by Derek Russell, and immediately Gogenius is on the tackle. 2 minutes remaining here in the first half, and we're at the 2-minute warning with the Oilers leading by a score of 10-7. With 1:58 remaining in the first half, Jeff Fisher's Houston Oilers lead 10-7, and they are at least within field goal range to add on to that lead, although they'll look to score here. They're at the 19-yard line of Baltimore, 2nd down and 5. With 1:58 to go, it's important to remember they have all of their timeouts left. Here's McNair in a roll. Looking into the end zone. Touchdown! What a catch by Willie Davis! And what a throw by McNair!
Outstanding timing from the quarterback to the wide receiver. It looked like he was covered. But on that play, a very similar throw to the one that Vinny Testaverde had intercepted. Watch McNair set on that little half roll. He throws the ball a lot quicker. He throws it where it gets there much quicker than the pass of Testaverde. Willie Davis makes a great catch. He concentrates. You see it catch right on the fingertips. Good play by the Houston Oilers offense.
Now that was the definition of a fingertip catch. Al Del Greco with the extra point. That ball was dangling on his fingertips, and he brought it home for the 6 points. Davis 3 catches on the day, and here it is again. The touchdown catch by Willie Davis from Steve McNair, and Houston leads with 1:52 to go in the first half. The numbers on the scoring drive: 67 yards, 9 plays. Willie Davis, the man in the middle there, number 86, with the catch from Steve McNair on the touchdown. And Houston leads 17-7 with 1:52 left. And Randy Baldwin bobbles that kickoff, and terrible field position at the 7-yard line as Lanoy Jones is down there on the coverage. What happened to Baldwin? And let me just say this, Bart. The sun in your eyes is not an excuse here this afternoon.
You can say he's wearing gloves and he can't feel the ball, but these gloves are high-tech. It simply goes right through his hands. He takes his eyes off the ball before he has it. Now any chance they had of going down and being able to do something with it goes right through his hands. He doesn't get in good position. His body's not in position to have the ball hit him in the chest. He's trying to catch it a little bit low, a little bit off.
Well, that's tough. He's very good kickoff return man. Randy Baldwin. Testaverde falls, then he's going to just throw the ball away, and I think he's going to get hit with a grounding call. That went from bad to worse. First of all, he fell. Then when he was going down, he obviously just dumped the ball off.
I've never on the quarterback. It's a spot foul. Since the distance is more than 10 yards. 2nd down.
Larry Nimmer's not sure. Watch Vinny Testaverde. He gets stepped on by Wally Williams, his center. What's amazing is look at that arm strength. I mean, he takes it from the ground and throws it
in a tight spiral. The ball inside the 3-yard line. Ernest Biner out over the 5, out to the 7-yard line, as we have 1:37 remaining here in the first half. And Houston calls a timeout because now what they're saying is it's going to be 3rd down coming up. We hold them one more time. We're going to get good field position, force them to punt, maybe score again. We'll be right back. Ernest Biner back in the Ravens backfield, getting the ball here today. First time he's touched it in 3 weeks.
Ernest is the forgotten guy. He's the guy that was on pace for a 1,000-yard season. Had some movement by the interior of the Ravens.
I don't know. I think they might have jumped offside there. It looked as though the Oilers jumped off and were across the line of scrimmage.
Well, it looked to me like Vinny wanted the ball a little bit earlier than he got it. It looked like he was moving out from underneath the center a little bit early. And he had some other of the linemen moving.
Encroachment, defense on the nose guard, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Maybe the reason was because Brian Mix was a little bit too close. We'll see on the replay. Mix
I think it's Walker, 96. Gary Walker, the left side on the defensive tackle that came across.
Mix was offset. He didn't move unless he lined up offsides. It gives him a little more breathing room.
But we add 1 second onto the clock at 1:36.
We've got to be exact. I mean, that might be outcome determinative in this game. But we're talking about Ernest Biner. They're putting him in now. He's in a situation early in the season on pace for 1,000 yards. And then Bam Morris came, and Ernest said, well, maybe they'll play both of us. But as it was, Bam started performing, and there's only room for the one guy. They wanted to go with Bam Morris.
Third down now, and 5 for a first down. Testaverde to Kitchen, and Brian Kitchen will get the Ravens a first down as he gets nailed by Blaine Bishop. But it's out to the 21-yard line, and Baltimore will move on. Now into the hurry-up. They only have 1 timeout left. Remember, they used 2 timeouts earlier in the half when they couldn't get their plays in from the sideline on time. Rollout, Testaverde. Kitchen fell down, got back up, makes the catch for about a 4-yard gain to the 25, and the clock continues to roll.
Well, the Oilers will give him that every play. They'll give him the 4 or 5 yards and keep him inbounds all day long. A little rollout. They thought they were going to give him a little more time. Good reaction by the defense of the Oilers.
Second down. Testaverde, Kitchen open down the middle again. 3 consecutive catches, and he brings it out to the 47-yard line with 45 seconds now remaining here in the half, and they have to bring the sticks down, and then the Ravens use their final timeout.
Replay, Brian Kitchen, the tight end. No one's covering him. They're playing that deep zone. They're giving the underneath, but you can't give up 20 yards like that. For long, you know it, they're going to be down in field goal territory.
And with that completion now, Vinny Testaverde has just gone over 4,000 yards for the season.
He's in pretty good company. There's been some players that played this game have never gone over 4,000 yards. He's in some real good company being in that category.
That's being announced to the crowd here at Memorial Stadium right now. So there it is. Not only 4,000 yards, but 30 touchdowns. And he now has 31 coming in here today with the 1 touchdown pass.
And being the only one on a team that's done it with a with a losing record.
That's amazing. It really is when you really put that together, because you think of those kind of numbers with a team that you would say would automatically be in a playoff situation, but not so with Testaverde. 45 seconds to go in the half. Now out of timeouts and out of receivers to throw to. Testaverde is to the 44 and slides down. Got to get up to the line of scrimmage, Vinny, and maybe dump it into the ground with 30 seconds remaining.
Michael Jackson is 40 yards, 50 yards down the field. It's taking him a while to get back, get lined up. They're moving around. They're not reacting real quick. Not real crisp by that offense right now.
Testaverde to Biner. And he gets out of bounds. They'll say he stepped out at about the 42, and he'll be short of a first down. But more importantly, they stopped that clock with 15 seconds left.
The Ravens burned 2 timeouts earlier by inconcision.
Now remember, stay with us at half for the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, Chris Collinsworth get you caught up with all the scores and highlights from around the NFL on this final Sunday of the regular season, plus a look at the playoff picture, all coming up at halftime. Third down and 1. Testaverde being chased from the backside, and Mix got him. A sack by Bryant Mix, the rookie from Alcorn State. 3rd sack of the day. And Testaverde is down.
Well, Brian Mix caught him from behind and just bulldogged him into the ground. Guy drove his head in there. Testaverde takes a snap. Watch on the left side. Brian Mix comes around and catches him, grabs him, and takes him in. Brian Mix, teammate of Steve McNair at Alcorn State, coming in and playing in case of Henry Ford.
That's the end of the first half here in Baltimore. The Oilers lead 17-7. Now let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, where the Houston Oilers lead over the Baltimore Ravens by a score of 17-7. Jim Donavan, along with one of Santa's, well, I was going to say little helpers, but that just won't fit right there. Bart Oates, one of Santa's helpers, as we get set for the second half. Bart, let's talk about the quarterback situation. Vinny Testaverde hit for 1 big play, and then there was almost another big play.
Well, Vinny Testaverde had a wide open Floyd Turner in the end zone, but he lofted the ball. He didn't put enough velocity on the ball, and he couldn't get it there, and it was intercepted.
Steve McNair had a tremendous first half. Watch this throw to Willie Davis.
Terrific. Steve McNair throws the ball. Willie Davis makes, as you mentioned, a fingertip catch, a great throw and catch by that pair.
So Houston will kick off as they start the second half, looking to finish the season now at 500 at 8-8. The Ravens looking for their 5th win, and Randy Baldwin takes the opening kickoff of the second half with a flag thrown in out to the 42-yard line. Right now it's a 26-yard return by Baldwin, who had a disaster earlier in the first half when he fumbled a kickoff return. We'll check out the flag. Here are the Coors Light halftime numbers for you, our halftime stats. Houston dominating time of possession, most of that in the first quarter.
Turn number 53.
With 19 minutes and 23 seconds. The only turnover of the game comes up big. That's the turnover that we highlighted for you. The Testaverde interception is 18th of the season.
Well, it prevents the Ravens from scoring a touchdown. Otherwise, it's 14-10 in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. Testaverde has, as we mentioned, has had a great year, but he also has had the propensity during his career, his 10-year career, to make the mistakes of throwing the balls where he shouldn't and sometimes how he shouldn't, as he did in that particular situation.
Penalty went against the Ravens. A block in the back brings them back to the 20-yard line. First down. Bam Morris back into the lineup. He's been in and out today. He started out, then we saw a lot of Ernest Biner in the second quarter, and now Morris starts the third quarter and brings it out for about 4 out to the 24-yard line.
When they opened it up and they wanted to open the field and throw the ball and hurry up a little bit, they brought in Ernest Biner. But in their regular offense, when they want to run that ball and pound it between the tackles and right off outside that tackle behind that big offensive line, they're going to use Bam Morris for that.
Testaverde was shaken up on the last play of the first half when he was sacked by Bryant Mix, but he's obviously okay and back in there. He's gone every game this year, 16 starts for him. He said to us yesterday that's a key as to why he's been able to play so well as he throws, and it's caught by Michael Jackson, and Jackson has a first down over the 30 to the 33-yard line, covered by Chris Dishman.
Testaverde sets up. He's finding a very comfortable target in Michael Jackson. Michael makes that little comeback. Dishman, they're playing man-to-man, but he's playing off of Michael because he has to respect his speed. It's a good timing route. That's all that is a timing situation. Vinny's throwing the ball before Michael even makes his cut and is looking back at him.
That was good for 10 yards and a first down. Bam Morris on first down. Runs to the outside. There's a flag thrown down at the 35-yard line as Morris picked up 8. This one might be coming back against Baltimore, though.
Usually,
holding.
In those situations, you look where the flag is thrown. If it's right at the point of attack during the play, it's a good sign that it's going to be a holding call, or there's a good chance of that happening.
Offense number 69, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Jeff Blackshear is hit with the penalty.
While that play doesn't count, it's indicative of the power that Bam Morris has. Here's a guy that was hit. He got hit by Chris Dishman. He drove him 6 yards until someone actually came in and helped finish off Bam Morris. A lot of people don't realize, but Bam is only 23 years old, 24 years old.
That's not a good matchup tackling-wise. Little Chris Dishman out there against Bam Morris. First down now and 20 after the 10-yard penalty for holding. Testaverde dumps it. Morris to the 30. And they'll spot him over the 30 at the 31. Tackled by Bryant Mix.
High percentage play. The wide receivers are stretching the defense, pushing them down the field. That big play to Michael Jackson has left an impression in the Oilers defense, and they're not going to let him get behind him anymore. And so what that does is they drop deep. It gives the underneath stuff. It's a greater high percentage plays now that those defensive backs are dropping.
The Ravens come up, second down at 12 after an 8-yard pass play to Bam Morris, and they'll run it on second and 12. Morris breaks through, and another flag is thrown. Thrown in the direction of Orlando Brown and Jonathan Ogden, as both were blocking in front of Bam Morris, and Larry Nemmers will give us the call. This will be the 6th penalty.
Offense number 77.
Orlando Brown.
10-yard penalty.
Orlando Brown gets
still
tagged.
Second down.
They had the offensive line. Orlando Brown is right here. Is the right tackle. He gets called for the holding. He's got his hands outside the frame of the defender. Usually when that happens, particularly when it's at the point of attack, the officials will see it and they're going to throw a flag. If he keeps his hands inside his frame, inside the chest, he probably would not get called.
Look at what's happened to the Ravens. Blocking the back on the opening kickoff return of the second half, and now 2 holding penalties. And for all the yardage they can gain, they just keep going back. Testaverde again. Floyd Turner makes the catch out over the 30. I mean, they are making the field even longer for themselves because of all the penalties.
Well, they're going back and forth. They make a positive gain, and then they get a penalty and go back. They make another positive gain. Let's see if they can't get it forward. They've got a 3rd and 10. If they can convert this, they keep this drive alive.
As you watch some of those big scores go by now on this final Sunday of the NFL, Jacksonville appears ready to head to the playoffs if they can win. Indianapolis looking to get in, tied with Cincinnati, and Kansas City leading in that really what amounts to a playoff game to get into the playoffs up in Buffalo. Here's Testaverde. Nice run out near a first down. He might be just a little bit short at the 43-yard line. Testaverde eagerly up to look at where that spot will mark him. They should call it in and measure it, and that's what they'll do.
You're going to get a measurement there. Testaverde steps up. Again, we talk about the underneath being open. Testaverde, they flush him out of the pocket. Good job by the offensive line of staying on him. The field is, there's nobody in front of him. I think if he just kept going forward and jump and run forward instead of trying to cut back, he might have been able to pick it up.
And I think he might have it anyway.
Bishop missed the tackle, but does enough to him. See the spot? It's a game of inches, right?
Oh, you got to give that to him. Yes, he got it.
I like the way you spot that. You got to get close to the camera, to the monitor there, right. And then you can see it. Just enough to get that. I suppose that's what you call awareness, where the quarterback knows right where the spot is to get the first down.
Boy, he's running pretty well today, all on scrambles out of there. He's got 3 rushes for 30 yards, and now another first down for the Ravens, and yet they're still not over the 50-yard line. That's because of all the penalties. Bam Morris changes directions, but not in time. Might have had a face mask. Did they get up there and get in the face mask of Bam Morris? They did.
It looked like the
Personal
hand.
foul, face mask, number 99, 15 yards, automatic first.
Oh, a 15-yard penalty on Robert Young. A big face mask penalty against Robert Young.
A good surge by the line. You see Bam Morris cutting back. Robert Young will come in your screen right here. He grabs the back. His hand is on the face mask, but he doesn't pull it. I have to disagree with that call by the officials, but maybe a 5-yard because his hand was on the face mask, but he did not grab the face mask and pull it. It was more Bam Morris turning his head, and it had the appearance that Robert Young was twisting the face mask.
That's a first down. Morris gets hit right in the backfield, and he throws it back to Testaverde, who throws it long, and it's going to be intercepted by Blaine Bishop at the 10. What a play! Morris looked as though he was down. He flipped it back to Testaverde, who throws it down the field, and Blaine Bishop intercepts the ball. Second interception of the day for Houston of Testaverde. 17-7 Oilers. We'll be right back. Back we are in Memorial Stadium. Now, Bart, this is like one of those touch football plays, isn't it?
Well, this is called, and he pitches it back to him it's called a flea flicker play in which he wants to go to Malcolm Floyd. We talked about earlier that they stretched him on that defensive play, on the play where they hit Michael Jackson, and that they've been playing deep. Eddie George drops the ball. But let me finish it. That they have been playing deep. The defensive backs have been, and so the underneath has been open. They've demonstrated that by hitting a few passes underneath. In that play, there were 3 guys on Malcolm Turner. I mean, he wasn't even close to being open. Vinny Testaverde, he had it predetermined. When he got that flea flicker, the pitch back from Bam Morris, he was going to throw it. He never even looked.
Incidentally, that's the first interception of the season for Blaine Bishop, who's on his way to the Pro Bowl. And now with 2 today, the Houston secondary has racked up 12 on the year. For a very good secondary, that's a little bit of a low number. Eddie George, after he drops the first down pass, runs on second down, and he'll get out to the 18-yard line.
Well, Cincinnati leads the league, and they're up around the 30 figure of interceptions. This defensive backfield of the Oilers, they are good. They make a lot of plays, but they're a blitzing group too. They make a lot of through sacks. They make a lot of things happen that way rather than just turnovers.
3rd down and 7 to go for an Oiler first down. And they bring Ronnie Harmon, and Rodney Thomas, number 20, checks in for the first time today as an Oiler running back. McNair. And the catch is made. Derek Russell, and that's going to be a first down.
Good job by the front of the
to Willie Davis, excuse me, not Russell. Willie Davis on the catch.
Willie Davis is a little banged up here. You monitor, you'll watch from the right side. They bring 4 guys. The Oilers' offensive line in the back picks it up. Willie Davis is able to take the catch, and they pick up the first down. Good pickup by the Oilers' front.
Ball is up to the 30-yard line, a first down. Bart, I'll tell you what, that was a pressure play for Steve McNair. The crowd was up. They were showing all kinds of blitz. But McNair answers that with a great throw as he got it in there to Willie Davis. Timeout on the field, 17-7. Oilers lead with 8:27 to go in the 3rd quarter. Steve McNair getting the start here today for Houston against an all-pro quarterback in Vinny Testaverde. And as you can see, as we break down the numbers on the two, McNair very much holding his own and might be outperforming Testaverde today. Flag is thrown as Eddie George rushes out to the 35-yard line. And McNair shows no problems of getting frazzled even in a road game, as the penalty will go against the Oilers. I mean, he is very cool out there.
Exactly. I'm impressed with the poise of this young man. He's doing a good job. He's making some good decisions, throwing the ball where it needs to be, running the ball when he needs to run it. The offensive coordinator, Jerry Rome, in this scheme, they're doing a good job of moving him around. They've sprinted him to the left. They sprinted him to the right. They've let him drop back. They're keeping this Ravens offense off balance. And not to mention, it doesn't hurt to have an Eddie George running the ball as well as he runs the ball.
That was a holding penalty call against Houston. The ball is back to the 20-yard line, and across the line of scrimmage comes Mike Frederick.
A little anxious, it looked like, playing against
encroachment, defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
He's playing against Kevin Donnelly, the right guard. Frederick, right in the middle of your screen, you see him settling down, just simply jumps off sides. He's thinking about getting, now if he had not touched Donnelly and he gotten back on side and no one had moved, the play could have continued. But when he touched the offensive player, he's guilty of the infraction.
McNair settles down for first down at 15 now at the 25. And across the middle, Eddie George comes out of the backfield and makes the catch out near the 40-yard line. And he'll be just short of a first down as he picks up 13 yards, and he gets up slowly as he's limping off on that right leg, and not a good sign for the Oilers.
He's not putting any weight on it, or very little weight. We've got a timeout. That would be a big loss for the Houston Oilers.
Such a durable back in his rookie year, coming out and being able to do so many things and take the punishment.
You see him come out of the backfield, straight up the middle. He settles down. You're seeing a running back who's maturing. See him get twisted over a little bit, but you're seeing a running back who is maturing. He's always been a good running back. I mean, he demonstrated that in college. But when you get to the pros, you need to be a full player. He's been able to block, and he's also can catch the ball. He's showing that he can be a full running back in the NFL.
We'll be right back. Eddie George appears to be okay after twisting his right ankle, but with his updated rushing totals now, 1359 on the year, he is 5th. Everybody else, of course, Earl Campbell, 5th for a single season rushing the ball for the Oilers. And of course you saw what Earl did in his rookie year and what Eddie George has done in his rookie season. So to just be compared with Earl Campbell, I mean, that is really to be put in some very, very strong company.
And his production has been Earl Campbell-like numbers. We see Rodney Thomas getting the first carry of the game. Rodney was their starting running back last year. He went for over 1,000 yards. They go and get Eddie George, and Rodney Thomas, just like Ernest Biner for the Ravens, has become the forgotten guy. They're in a different formation. They've got 2 tight ends and only 1 wide receiver. And Frank Wycheck lined up in the backfield.
Here's McNair rolling out, throws, Wycheck catches, and he's at the 44, and it takes 3 Ravens to get the former University of Maryland star out of bounds as he's finally brought out. Incidentally, Eddie George has a sprained ankle, and they expect him to come back into the ball game at some point here in the second half.
They're bringing in 3 wide receivers. Frank Wycheck, watch him, he fakes the block, the lead block. It's a bootleg. He catches the ball. Frank Wycheck played at the University of Maryland. He said he had to spend a lot of money for tickets today, bringing his friends to the game. He grew up in Philadelphia, so this is a home game for him. He leads the team in receptions with over 50 receptions.
Second down at 7. The ball is at the 45-yard line of Houston. Rodney Thomas is in for Eddie George. McNair, a lot of time to look and pick out Wycheck for a first down to the 43-yard line of Baltimore. Tackled by Mike Kroll, and also coming off is Ray Lewis. It's a 12-yard pickup and a first down for Houston.
Another good decision by Steve McNair, sitting back in the pocket. Can't give his offensive line enough credit. They're giving him all day to throw the ball. Steps up. Nobody covers Frank Wycheck. The former running back from the University of Maryland does a good job.
So from the 43-yard line, trying to build on a 17-7 lead here in the second half. Steve McNair finding Wycheck here early in the third quarter. This time he picks out Chris Sanders, and Sanders with a gain to the 40-yard line. Tackled immediately by Antonio Langham.
Antonio Langham had 2 interceptions last week. He's coming on strong. He has 5 interceptions for the year, tied for the team lead. He was the 9th pick in the '94 draft. Very high on him. He's a tall player. He can play with the tall wide receivers in the league. He's a guy, he came up early on that one. He didn't get that much. He didn't get the separation that Chris Sanders wanted on that.
Second down now, 7 yards to go for an Oiler first down at the 40. Looks as though the Ravens might have jumped offside as Rodney Thomas cuts the corner, and Thomas gets up near a first down as he goes out at the 35-yard line. There is a flag down, and it appeared as though the Ravens defensive front jumped.
Steve McNair had to, they called the encroachment by the defense. Steve McNair had a hard count, got the defensive jump. You'll think they want to.
Nose tackle was in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
So they'll take the penalty and they'll repeat second down as we'll watch it again. And I think it might have been, well, Frederick is showing the signs that he's going to go.
And Frederick does.
Frederick goes.
Frederick jumps, so he's a little anxious. He's been a defensive end. He's playing inside right now, a little bit out of position, given the injuries to this defensive front. That front 7, they've changed them around every week. They have not had the continuity that they've wanted to have.
Second down at 2, and look at the play by Ray Lewis as he grabs Rodney Thomas just when he got the ball and rips him down.
Terrific read by Ray Lewis. He gets the penetration. He gets Rodney Thomas in the backfield almost before he gets it. He comes in. Terrific job. Good job by Lewis making the penetration. They pull the left guard. Rodney Lewis follows him and makes the tackle in the backfield.
So now it's third down and 4. And McNair, he finds Thomas out of the backfield. 25. And Stevan Moore knocks him out of bounds, but not before he's got the first down. 14 yards on the pickup, and McNair now is 10 out of his last 11 throwing the ball.
Here's a situation where McNair wasn't just sitting back there. There was a little breakdown. He got pressure. Footman comes in there. He gets the pressure on him, McNair has the presence to stand in there. He delivers a strike to Rodney Thomas.
Well, I'll tell you, McNair is making every decision the correct way here this afternoon. He really gets back in that pocket. They're giving him great time. He's surveying the field and picking out his receivers perfectly. Little play action fake.
There's all the time in the world.
And he'll run. And again, for the third time today, he runs out of bounds after he gets a few yards. Up to the 21, a gain of about 3, 2nd and 7. Coming up next, don't miss the exciting conclusion of the Lexus Challenge, hosted by Raymond Floyd. Celebrities Kevin Costner, Joe Pesci, Sean Connery, Ken Griffey Jr., and others pair up with golf's biggest names like Arnold Palmer. Chi Rodriguez and host Raymond Floyd. That's coming up next, right here on NBC. Coming up next here in Memorial Stadium, 2nd down and 7 for the Houston Oilers. Driving here in the third quarter. Rodney Thomas trapped in the backfield and brought down. Good play by the Ravens secondary, Donnie Brady.
Donnie Brady comes in there. Donnie Brady is a rookie. He was backing up Isaac Booth earlier in the season. Donnie Brady has what they call support. He's on the outside to the right of your screen. When he sees the run, he comes up on run support. He's the guy that's responsible to make the running back go back inside into the defensive pursuit. He does an even better job in that case by making the tackle.
So it now becomes 3rd down and close to 10. As Donnie Brady is checking out and running to the Ravens sideline. Now they got to send him back out on the field, and they had a defensive foul-up getting their personnel in, and they have to use a timeout. How about that? The Ravens burn a timeout. They trail 17-7. Ted Marchibroda can't like that. We'll be right back. Well, the Houston Oilers are currently on a 56-yard drive, and they've gone close to 9 minutes. Most of that without Eddie George, who left this drive early in the drive with a twisted ankle.
And he doesn't even have his eye black smeared yet.
8:29 of the clock used as they now come up. 3rd down, close to 10 for Steve McNair, just over the 25-yard line of Baltimore. McNair's going to run, and he's going to run for the 1st down, and he's going to run even more for a touchdown. And I think it's time to say that this is the Oilers starting quarterback for a long time to come.
Chris Chandler probably will not be back next year given this performance. This is a guy that can throw the ball. He's making good decisions today, and he's got that elusiveness. Look at it. He's got speed. They left the field wide open for him. He's the type of guy that in the future teams are going to have to dedicate a guy to just to prevent him from running the ball. He's got that kind of speed, the Steve Young, the Mark Brunell type, that can make things happen on the run, not just with his arm, but you like the way he's done it today.
Al Del Greco for the extra point. And the Houston Oilers lead is now up to 24-7. 24-7. Oilers lead on a 24-yard touchdown run by Steve McNair. Making the start, making his presence known as the starting quarterback for the Oilers. A beautiful drive engineered by Steve McNair. 84 yards. He took it in from 24 yards out for the touchdown as Houston now leads by a score of 24-7. A short kickoff, and it's grabbed by Ernest Biner. Biner to the 42-yard line on the short kick by Al Del Greco. A 17-yard return. Good starting field position, and the Ravens certainly need that, now down by 17 points.
Jim, in spite of Eddie George getting a little nicked up, going out in the middle of that series, they bring in Rodney Thomas. Steve McNair has the presence and the ability to keep that drive alive on his own with his passing and his running. It shows a sign that this offense, the Oiler offense, has a lot of potential coming up.
1st and 10 for Vinny Testaverde. 1:11 left to go here in the third quarter. They've been on the bench a long time, and Van Morris to the 45 of the Oilers, and a 1st down. Good run by Morris, finally brought down by Michael Barrow and Marcus Robertson, but not before he got 14 yards and a 1st down. And now we see for the first time today the Ravens in a no huddle.
Ted Marchibroda, we asked him about the no huddle, and they'd been running it quite a bit late in the season. He says they run it for a particular reason. Maybe it's a lineman that's the defensive linemen are older and they want to tire him out. In this case, it's because they're behind. They want to get something going. They want to get the offense moving. They got to get him in the end zone.
Brian Kinchin on the catch, and he's down to the 36-yard line. And despite the fact that they went no huddle on that play, it still took them a lot of time to get the play called and in motion.
Well, a no huddle is not necessarily a hurry up. They're different. No huddle, you want to get them lined up. You want to see what the defense is doing. Oh, Jim, that is fantastic surge by the front. This is something that Jeff Fisher was afraid would happen, that they don't have a lot of depth up front. They would get that push. Right there you have Blackshear and you have Orlando Brown doing a great job of getting push.
That is the end of the third quarter here in Baltimore. And we'll be right back after these messages coming up from your local station. This is the NFL on NBC. Start of the fourth quarter. There's a look at the way the scoring has gone. Only touchdown and points in the second half. The touchdown by McNair in the third quarter. And so far, a steady dose of Bam Morris as he's been bringing the Ravens back. And now inside the Houston 20, all the way down the field, he's brought them.
You had the good return by Ernest Biner, put him in good field position. And a couple of runs here by Bam Morris. The offensive line is getting some terrific surge up front with Jeff Blackshear and Orlando Brown and Wally Williams.
Morris again.
Good hole.
A big hole inside the 15, down near the 12. Morris is closing in. He'll be over 80 yards, so a 100-yard rushing day is well within his reach, and they're right back up to the line of scrimmage. First down at the 13-yard line for Baltimore.
As an offensive lineman, you love this. You love to get up there and just run the ball against guys that are getting a little tired.
Morris again, and he gets hit by Marcus Robertson inside the 10 at the 9-yard line.
Still picks up 4 yards. Now, Houston's not real concerned about it. They'll give them 4 yards, keep the clock running. They've got a big lead here. They're not bringing a lot of blitzing.
Morris now has 87 yards rushing on 11 carries. Second down and 6 at the 8-yard line. They trail 24-7. End zone, touchdown, second of the day, Michael Jackson. Jackson yesterday told us, I'm feeling 2-touchdown day, and he has made good on the promise.
As we were talking about, he says, well, I lead everybody. I'm going to have 13 touchdowns catches after tomorrow. And he says, well, that's a little confident. And he says, I set that as a goal every week. My goal is to have 2 touchdown catches a week.
And you would have thought that they were down 24-7, that they would have had to go down the field throwing the ball, when actually Bam Morris brought them down the field running the ball. Then they got into the end zone on the touchdown pass of 8 yards from Testaverde to Jackson, and Stover's kick is good. Testaverde now with 32 touchdown passes on the season, and here's this one to Michael Jackson, second of the day to him. We'll be right back. Back at Memorial Stadium, and atop the stadium, the flags flying. The Houston Oilers, the St. Louis Rams, all NFL team flags fly above Memorial Stadium except the Indianapolis Colts. And I guess you could understand why. There's a lot of emotion there.
Yeah, but they let the Colts, or the Baltimore Colts marching band, come in here every week.
Well, they never left here, though. Here's Mel Gray, and he carries out over the 20 to the 23-yard line. And that's where they will begin. Christmas Day. We want you to join NBC Sports for an exciting NBA doubleheader, starting with NBA Showtime in primetime at 5:30 Eastern. Then game time at 6 p.m. Eastern. Your Christmas wishes come true when Shaq and the Lakers travel to Phoenix to battle Kevin Johnson and the Suns. Then in game 2, Grant Hill and the Detroit Pistons make a Christmas voyage to the Windy City to take on Michael Jordan and the defending world champion Chicago Bulls. A holiday NBA doubleheader, Christmas Day on NBC. First and 10 for the Oilers.
Jim, the Oilers thought they had complete control of the game. They had the short kickoff with the return, and then the Bam Morris's run.
Eddie George back into the backfield after suffering a sprained ankle, and he runs the ball out to the 27-yard line. And remember now, they want to keep running the ball and running it effectively and keep running that clock.
Stephon Moore makes a good hit right on that play. The leading tackler for the Ravens defense. He's one of the only 2 guys that haven't missed any games this year. Every other starter has missed games. They've had 40 different starters on this team.
Second down and 5 for a Houston first down at their own 27 as they protect a 10-point lead. 24-14, fourth quarter. George again to the 31, and he'll be near a first down. They are 2 yards shy. When you look at this Baltimore Ravens team with such an explosive offense, and yet they have so many losses, 11 already on the year, it's obvious they got to go get defense, and a lot of it this year in the offseason.
As good as that offense is in the NFL rankings, the defense is that bad. They're 28, 29, 30 in the league defensively. Injuries, of course, have had a lot to do with it, but they just don't have the horses. And talking to...
They just used another timeout. Couldn't get players in once again. They burn another Ravens timeout. And we'll be right back. Ravens owner Art Modell watching from the owner's box here. He'd love to see some defensive help come on the way. They've had so many injuries, Bart. Look at all the changes they've had to make in their defensive formation, what they're going to play.
You got Marvin Lewis coming from Pittsburgh. He has a 3-4 system. They played 4-3 here. They wanted to start with the 4-3, but because of injuries to the up front guys, they changed to the 3-4. And then in 1 week, week 14, they had to play both the 4-man front and a 3-man front.
The throw on third down and 2 is incomplete as Eric Turner was blitzing and right in the face of McNair. And Houston much punt now as the Oilers will give the ball back to the Ravens. And remember now, they can score quickly. They only used 2:46 the last time they had the ball when they went in for the touchdown. So I'm sure they're going to stay with that no huddle and try and get right back up the field.
They rolled Steve McNair out like they've done so many times today. Give him the option of throwing the ball or running the ball. The Ravens did a good job of preventing him from running the ball, and he didn't have anybody to throw to him, so now he kicks it. And a bad kick by Reggie Roby.
A bad punt by Reggie Roby will give the Ravens superb field position. Well, we're not out of the woods yet, Jeff Fisher. It was only a 28-yard punt by Reggie Roby, and it didn't even have to travel the 28 yards because right there he knew it was bad. And on the sideline, Reggie Roby with 3 punts on the day, 35.3-yard average. Great field position for the Ravens out at their own 41-yard line, down by 10. Testaverde changing the play and going long. And it's broken up by Darrell Lewis, intended for Ray Etheridge. And I think that Houston sideline was holding their breath over there on that one because Testaverde is starting to connect on that long ball.
Testaverde's going for the whole kit and caboodle on that play. He wants a touchdown. Thought at first it might have been to Michael Jackson, but Ray Etheridge is in there in place of Derek Alexander. They're still in that no huddle offense. Gets set up. Defense, throws the defense's timing off. They don't know exactly when to line up, when to stunt, when to call their plays.
Second down and 10. 11:50 to go in regulation time. The catch made by Brian Kitchen. He'll be short of the first down at the 48-yard line. He still has to pick up about 4 more, and Testaverde brings him right back up. Calls the play, yelling out the instructions.
Brian Kitchen is having a career year. He has had 48 catches going into this game. Brian's also an excellent golfer. He and Del Greco they play a lot of golf together and played in a lot of tournaments. Del Greco told me that he's the better golfer of the two.
Third down and 3. Once again, a lot of time being used here by Testaverde to get the play called. And of course they need the yardage. Floyd Turner to the 36 where Blaine Bishop brings him down. And a first down for the Ravens. Remember, down by 10, but driving once again with a 15-yard pickup.
The crowd is getting into it. On replay, Floyd Turner comes across the middle. That middle has been open consistently today. They've attacked it at some times, but in my opinion, they haven't done it enough.
First down, Testaverde running. Bam Morris, nothing. He'll lose yards back to the 41-yard line. Lanoy Jones was in the backfield to make the play, and it's a 5-yard loss.
Then he said that when he's in this no-huddle offense, that while the offensive coordinator has the opportunity to talk in his ear, and I think he says a few things to him, he makes suggestions to him, says, but about 70% of the times, he says nothing, and Vinny calls his own play. He looks at the defense. He calls what he wants to play. He says he likes that. He feels comfortable with it.
Second down at 15. He's going to get sacked. That's the 4th time he's gone down today, and they've all been for big yardage. Beyond midfield, back at the 49-yard line of the Ravens. A huge play for the Oilers defense. 2 big plays in a row now for them.
They tackle Bam Morris in the backfield, and now they have the big sack. Vinny had the time. He just didn't see anybody open. He tried to scramble. He broke a couple of attempts, but eventually he got caught for the big sack.
3rd down and 25 as Michael Barrow is the man that finally ends up bringing Testaverde down. Minus 56 yards on the 4 sacks today of Testaverde. 3rd down. Testaverde. Fumble. Floyd Turner lost the ball, and Marcus Robertson picked it up. It's Houston ball.
And besides that, Vinny Testaverde threw the ball when he had passed the line of scrimmage. I think Houston will decline this penalty.
He went beyond the line of scrimmage, which was the 49. He threw the ball at about midfield. Turner made the catch and then lost the ball, and Marcus Robertson picked it up off the ground for the fumble recovery.
The Oilers are making the turnovers. They're causing the turnovers that Fisher had complained they hadn't been getting. He likes this defense, which is an aggressive defense. It's that 46
Illegal
defense.
forward pass on number 12. The quarterback was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. Penalty is refused. 1st down, Houston.
They refuse the ball. But this defense, this Oilers defense, is designed to cause turnovers. They're aggressive. They make people make decisions that aren't the right decisions. You see him throw the ball right there at midfield, as you'd mentioned. Good job of stripping the ball, causing that turnover. Lane Bishop comes in there, who had the interception earlier. Lane Bishop is a guy that he'll play the safety, but they bring him up on the line of scrimmage. He plays a linebacker position. He'll play as many as 6 or 7 different spots during the course of the game.
Well, they're very happy over on that Houston sideline, but now the officials having a conference at the 29-yard line. And I think Larry Nemmers is going to make an announcement right now.
When an illegal forward pass is caught by the offense, the ball is dead automatically. So the play will result in a 5-yard penalty by the offense and a loss of down.
So now they'll bring it back. So wipe out the fumble recovery.
And it only cost them 5 yards. And a loss of down. So it still gives them a 4th down. Because that was a 3rd down play, so it should be 4th down. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. And it would go back to about the 44-yard line on the mark-off of the penalty. And that would call on Greg Montgomery to come in and punt with 9:27 to go here in the game.
So as soon as the ball is caught by an offensive player, it's dead at that spot. Anything that happens after that, according to the official, is of no consequence.
3rd punt of the day coming up for Montgomery. Mel Gray will go back at his 10-yard line, and Houston will get the ball back. Leading by 10, 24-14. And again, we're still do not have everything sorted out here as the Oilers are changing up their personnel on their punt coverage.
The Oilers had their defense thinking it was a 3rd down. Then they realized it was a 4th down, that the Ravens were going to punt the ball. Now they brought their punt coverage team, or rather their punt return team, in the game. And the always dangerous Mel Gray standing back there to receive the punt from Montgomery.
Well, another blown opportunity for the Ravens as they got the ball in great field position, and still once again the official not ready to go, because you know what, they have the yard markers all fouled up. They had already moved the sticks,
The guys on the sidelines with the yard markers, they're walking around aimlessly. They don't know where they're supposed to be.
Well, I'll tell you what, why this is important is because what if they pulled a fake? You'd have to know where the possibility would be for a first down on the play. So the guys over on the sideline blew it by moving the sticks. They never should have moved the sticks. There wasn't a change of possession.
Exactly. They're getting it respotted. I mean, the first down is all the way over on the 26-yard line. It'd be very unlikely that they're able to achieve a first down in this case, even if they do have a fake.
All right, finally, Greg Montgomery punts it away. Mel Gray lets it hit at the 4, and it goes in. Touchback, and the ball will come out to the 20-yard line for the Oilers with 9:17 to go in the game, and they lead by 10. Tonight on Dateline, stress. We all know it. We all feel it. The pressures of everyday life can drive you over the edge, but if you're stressed out, don't panic. Help is on the way. Dateline has the latest ways to cope tonight on an all-new Dateline NBC. Oilers lead 24-14, 9:17 to go, and try and alleviate a little bit of stress from Jeff Fisher over on the Oilers sideline. He would like to see Houston get a few first downs and run that clock down.
You got 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
You've got a good offensive line. You've got a big running back in Eddie George. Let's see what they decide to do.
First down, Ronnie Harmon is in the game and goes in motion. They're going to pass. And complete it. And Ronnie Harmon curls around the blocker and gets out to the 30-yard line and near a first down. And the Ravens cannot allow that to happen too many more times.
The Ravens have got to get some help up front. This is in talking with the front office people. I mean, their wish list is they need to get a pass rushing guy, a guy that can come in, make immediate impact, putting pressure on the quarterback, take some pressure off some of the other people in that defensive front. If they can do that, they can improve. Art Modell, as you see there, as he told me, he says, this team is in good shape. It's in good shape. We just need some defensive help. We like the offense the way it is. We like our coaching staff. If we get some defensive help, we're going to be a much improved team.
Eddie George is trapped for a no gain to the 30-yard line, and it will be second down at 10. They're looking right now at a pick either 4th or 5th in the first round. And when we talked with Ted Marchibroda yesterday to try and get the likes of Ray Lewis, who was an outstanding pick last year by Ozzie Newsome, some help, he said they'd love to get an attacking linebacker or a pass rusher up front that could get some pressure on the quarterback.
Exactly. I mean, everybody's looking for those Lawrence Taylor type players. I mean, they're not out there. A guy like...
Third down in inches, and Mike Frederick comes across the line of scrimmage, but this time he's claiming that he was pulled off. And Larry Nemmers will tell us.
False start prior to the snap.
He was.
74 offense.
Bruce
5-yard
Matthews.
penalty, still third down.
The perennial Pro Bowler, Bruce Matthews. This is his 9th consecutive trip to the Pro Bowl this year. We'll watch him here lined up right there at the left guard spot. Oh, see a little flinch. He moves a little bit. He's been a mainstay in this Oilers line. He's started at every offensive line position. He's played in over 200 consecutive games. As far as longevity, he's incredible, along with his brother Clay Matthews, who's with Atlanta.
Third down at 6. McNair finds his man, and it's Derek Russell. And Russell pulls the ball down at the 38-yard line for a huge first down for the Oilers. 14 yards, and they'll keep the clock running and keep possession.
Another big third down. McNair's on the run a little bit. He throws the ball back across his body. Good control. The ball's right where he wants it to be. It's another third down conversion. Going into this game, this team had only converted on about 1 out of every 3 third down attempts. Today they're 8 or 9 of 12.
Derek Russell, did you see him fight off of the coverage by Ray Lewis and stay in the pass route and ended up being rewarded with the football? Here's Eddie George on first down. Oh, what a hit high by Lewis as he comes in high. Down low, it was Stephon Moore, and then Lewis helped out. So again, George is stopped right at the point of attack.
There's some hitting going on down there. You can hear it as you listen to it. Eddie George comes, Stephon Moore, and Ray Lewis comes in and hits him right in the head. You can see Eddie George's reaction. He kind of holds his head saying, that one hurt. I felt they're talking to him a little bit. He's woozy. That shot by Ray Lewis, he hit him right in the head, helmet to helmet.
George coming off the field. Remember, he got hurt. He sprained his ankle earlier, but this time it was the high hit by Ray Lewis on the end of that running play, and George needs some assistance as he comes to the sideline.
Stevan Moore had him, wrapping him up, and Ray Lewis comes in there to finish him off and just collided with him head to head. I think that's probably the last you're going to see of Eddie George. He's got a little ankle. He's got banged up a little bit.
If it is, he would finish with 85 yards rushing today on 21 carries. 2nd down and 10, and McNair keeps the ball and pushes it out near the 44-yard line. He doesn't want to go down.
That's an interesting call. A quarterback sneak when you're at a 2nd and 10. But they pick up 5 yards. Good surge by the offensive front.
Looks like Eddie George is really out of it over there on the Oilers bench.
I'm still impressed with that eye black. It's still not smeared. You got to like that. Got that Michael Jordan look. His offensive line, as you see here on the graph, he's got 85 yards so far. Every time he goes over 100 yards, he takes his offensive line out for a steak dinner. He buys them all a steak dinner.
So they would probably like to see him come back in.
Well, they want to see him get a lot of yards because the more he gets, the more likelihood of them getting a nice gift from Eddie George.
On 3rd down, the throw to Rodney Thomas, and Thomas is immediately brought down. That's Ray Lewis on his back. This kid Lewis is playing a sensational ball game. They are close to the 1st down, are the Oilers. In fact, it's an official's timeout, and they will call for a measurement.
The former Miami Dolphins, or rather the Miami Hurricane player in college, they like his speed, the way he runs. Before he even came here, they released Pepper Johnson, who'd been the starting inside linebacker, and they penciled him in. It's not so much that he earned it, but they said, we've seen you, we like what you do, you're going to be our guy, you're going to have to learn to play this defense. And as the years progressed, he's had some ups, he's had some downs, as Ozzie Newsome has told us, but he's the type of guy that's going to be in there, he prepares hard, and he's going to show up on Sundays.
Well, they're short by about 6 inches. And he would set up 4th down, and I do not see the Oilers calling in Reggie Roby yet to punt this ball. They're on their side of the field, and they have not called Roby in. Jeff Fisher, now he's going to call timeout. I was going to say.
Yeah, it's time to. This doesn't make.
Wow.
It doesn't really make sense that they're going to go for it.
And we'll be back to see what happens, as the Oilers have not officially called a timeout yet, have they?
Yeah, well,
they were motioning for the timeout.
No, the play clock is not the play clock.
The play clock, what they're going to do, I think, is just let it wind right down.
Is still running.
And
Steve McNair standing there. He calls timeout.
There's the timeout. Well, a little drama there, waiting for the timeout to be called. Houston in the lead. We'll be right back. Back in Baltimore, 4:50 to play, and Eddie George has a mild concussion, and he will not return this afternoon, so his rookie season appears to be over.
They put him over there on that bench. That's a heated bench. I'm sure the Oilers, if you look over on their sideline, you got most of their guys tend to be sitting on that during the course of the game. They've got hot air flowing through there, coming out vents for their feet to keep their feet warm. They're going to go for it here on 4th down. It'll give the Ravens great field position if they don't make it.
McNair buries his head, and he pushes behind that offensive line, and he'll get the 1st down to midfield and maybe even inside Raven territory. Wow, gutsy call, Bart, by Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, it really was. He wants to keep the ball that's going down there. It's got under 5 minutes to play.
So the clock runs, under 4.5 remaining, and here it is, a look at the two sides to the Oilers season, weeks 1 through 7 when they were 5-2, and then 8 through 15.
In the first 7 weeks, they have a +2 in a turnover ratio. In the last weeks, they've got a -6 for a -4 ratio. You can see why they went 2-6 with a -6 record.
Rodney Thomas on 1st down, trapped in the backfield, and he'll lose about 3 yards back to the 48-yard line. And time is called here, and the Ravens will use their final timeout of the 2nd half. So the Ravens are out of timeouts. They're 10 points down, 24-14, with just under 4 minutes to go. Back at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, just under 4 minutes to go. 3:59 away from the end of this ball game. Jeff Fisher and the Oilers leading 24-14. And they have the Ravens, Bart, exactly where they want them. Baltimore just had to use their final timeout. So the Ravens are out of timeouts, 10 points down. And it not looking good over on the Baltimore sideline. Looking good for Houston to finish now at 8-8.
Houston finishing at an 8-8 with a 500 record, improving from last year's 7-9. But also impressive, they've got one of the best road record in the NFL if they win this game.
Rodney Thomas got away from Mike Frederick, but he won't get away from Eric Turner, and Turner pushes him back. They say keep the clock running, which will...
Forward progress stopped while he was inbound. They keep the clock running. But it's interesting. Here's a team that's 8-8. They're out of playoff contention with the best road record, tied with Denver Broncos with a 6-2 record. It's a team that at home in the Houston Astrodome, where last week they pulled under right at 15,000 fans. They just don't have any energy at home. Jeff Fisher told us that in this league that things are so close that simple distractions can really cause this team to lose their competitive edge, to lose that narrow margin that you have between victory and losses. And that when they play at home, that while they're not going to use that as an excuse, but he says they just don't have that extra energy. They go on the road, they feel the energy of the crowd, even though it's for the other team. They've been able to feed off that.
Anthony Pleasant walking off. Been a tough year for him, injury situation. NBC tonight starts with Dateline, followed by Third Rock from the Sun and Boston Common, plus Sister Act, the blockbuster hit comedy with Whoopi Goldberg. That's tonight, right here on NBC.
Jeff Fisher made an interesting comment in the press after last week's loss to Cincinnati. He said that the sum of the parts don't equal the whole. We've heard where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. In this case, he said his team had not done as well, that individually they just didn't come together. There wasn't the cohesiveness, because talent-wise, this Oiler team is as good as anybody in the league. There aren't any glaring weaknesses. They just haven't done it as a team.
Third down now as McNair rolls out, and he is going to run away from Elliott Fortune and then go down at the 41-yard line. He actually had a bunch of offensive linemen out there with him and only one Raven. The one Raven was Elliott Fortune, and he went down on the play. So it would be fourth down now, and they'll finally give up the football, but they'll use as much time on that play clock and the game clock before they actually punt it away.
Jerry Rome started the game out rolling Steve McNair out, wanting him to get outside the pocket, get a little room. They've used it during the course of the game. The Ravens have done a pretty good job in adjusting to it. The last couple of rollouts, McNair has not had the time to do what he's wanted to do. He hasn't had the running lanes that he had earlier in the game. But I think the adjustment is a little too late, too little.
Timeout is now called by Houston with 2:42 left. They use as much time as they can before they would be penalized. So they are now out of timeouts too. And the only timeout that would be left would be the 2-minute warning in this game. So right now it becomes a very critical season after you finish the regular season and the postseason. Then it becomes time to take a look at the free agent season. And that is when the general managers and the directors of player personnel really get to work. Here's the Ravens unrestricted free agents, and a look at that. So they have a lot of decisions to make. The safety, Stephon Moore, is a very important decision because he has teamed up with Eric Turner to become one of the best tandems for safeties in the NFL.
As well as Michael Jackson has an option on his contract. So while he's not a free agent, they have to deal with his contract as well. And this is a team that they've admitted in the public. I mean, the reason they came here was a money situation. They're at the limit of the NFL approved debt limit.
They went after the Roby punt, tried to block it, and it's caught by Jermaine Lewis, and he gets nailed by Malcolm Floyd. As soon as he caught the ball, Lewis is hit by Malcolm Floyd, a 48-yard punt. And boy, that's one to take to the offseason with you.
That's a pretty good effort by a wide receiver. He's not used to going down there and being in a tackling position. He times it well. He hits him right at the catch. Jermaine Lewis can do nothing but go down. Luckily, he held on to the ball.
Right, because he was right on him as soon as he caught the ball. In fact, as we looked into his eyes on that one replay, you could see that he looked up and he saw a white blur coming right at him. The ball is at the 12-yard line. Baltimore does not have a timeout left. They trail by 10.
And one thing the Oilers have done a good job is pinning the Ravens back for the most part. There's been a couple of times that they've had good field position, but for the most part, they've kept them pinned back. Ball thrown there by Testaverde, a little bit behind Brian Kitchen.
Brian Kitchen cannot hang on as the Ravens will go into the offseason. Testaverde will go to Honolulu to the Pro Bowl. And the Ravens themselves will start to get ready immediately for the draft when they look at either a 4th or 5th pick in the first round. Second down, deflected ball. Morris makes the one-handed catch, and Bam brings it out over the 15 to the 17-yard line. And the clock continues to run down, and that will probably get us down to the 2-minute warning unless they can really get up and get this play off in a hurry.
They'll get one more play off, but the Oilers just are keeping the defenders, the offensive players in front of them. They're not letting them get to the sidelines. Keep that clock running.
It's third down, so he needs some yardage to get a first down, and Testaverde finds the sideline, and the ball is caught by Ray Etheridge. He steps out with a minute 58 to go. So just less than 2 minutes to go in the ball game. 10-point lead for the Oilers. We'll be right back. Just under 2 minutes to go, a minute 58 remaining, and a first down for the Baltimore Ravens. They trail 24-14. The ball is out at their own 32-yard line as Testaverde is back to the middle. And he picks out Floyd Turner. And Turner's got a first down to the 47. They'll move the sticks after a 15-yard pickup. No timeouts, though, remaining for Baltimore.
The clock continues to run. Oilers have a 10-point lead. This is a team, the Oilers, now they've got to spend one more year, it looks like. They've got to spend one more year in Houston. They don't want to be there. The fans really don't want them to be there.
Brian Kitchen on the catch for Baltimore. He brings it out to the 45-yard line, and actually they'll give him forward progress to the 43, pickup of 9.
Jeff Fisher's done a terrific job of keeping this team focused. They're in an environment where no one really wants them to be there. No one's really supporting them. And the mayor of the town of Houston won't agree to let them go. There's been a consent decree, will not agree to that. Well, he's basically, from what I've been told, is the only guy that won't agree to it. And they haven't been able to move because of that. And if that situation, if it continues next year, it's just difficult for these guys, the Oilers, to keep that mindset.
Third down and 1 yard to go for a Baltimore first down. And the Ravens are definitely in 4-down territory anyway. That's the first down as the catch is made by Kitchen inside the 35 to the 34-yard line as the Oilers continue to just give them that short yardage right there. And now under a minute. Michael Barrow on the tackle.
Their Oilers are in a three-man front. Simply going to put a little pressure on the outside, make them throw the ball.
Bam Morris on the catch, 25, 20. And Morris steps out near the 10-yard line and stops the clock with 35 seconds to go.
Marcus Robertson sitting there in position to make a play. Bam's running full speed, puts his arm in Marcus Robertson's chest, runs for another 3 or 4 yards and gets out of bounds.
26 yards on the play for Bam Morris and a first down just inside the 10, so they're first and goal. So what they got to do now, they got to get it in there. They got to get an onside kick. They got a lot of work and not much time and no timeouts.
Watch the safety blitz. They just bring 3 guys.
Bam Morris to the 5-yard line as he is brought down. Bowden is in on the tackle.
You know, you look at Bam Morris physically, he's not an imposing figure. You know, he doesn't have the big arms like Eddie George, but you haven't seen the first guy tackle him yet.
Touchdown, Michael Jackson. That's his 3rd of the day.
Michael Jackson's having a terrific day.
So with 13 seconds left, Michael Jackson from Testaverde catches the touchdown pass.
Those called timeouts earlier in the season, earlier in the game, has hurt them. They had a lot of the plays that were down the middle of the field. They weren't able to stop the clock, and now there's only 13 seconds left in the game.
Stover's kick is good, and with 13 seconds left, Michael Jackson now has 5 catches on the day, 117 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
He is certainly making his case that he should have been in the Pro Bowl, having a Pro Bowl caliber day. Timing pattern, the tall Michael Jackson against Darrell Lewis. It's no match. Michael Jackson goes up and gets the ball, takes it in for the touchdown.
I think he'd be very honored to be called Michael Jordan. As he stands with Derek Alexander, 82, as he had the bandana on. Alexander, of course, not really able to go at all today. Those two have teamed up to become a tremendous receiving tandem, but right now, here it comes. Time for Scott O'Brien's special teams to come up with an onside kick recovery with 13 seconds left, and they're only down by 3 points now at 24-21.
Matt Stover is going to kick the ball on the ground. Hopefully, the point of the ball, he's going to kick it end over end. The point of the ball, if he catches in the turf, could bounce up into the air. If it goes according to the Ravens' plan, one of the Ravens players will get the ball. Now, it has to travel 10 yards, so it has to go to the 40-yard line right there. It has to pass the 40-yard line before a Ravens player can touch it.
And the kick is immediately grabbed by one of the Oilers up men inside the 40 as he is brought down. James McKeon actually makes the recovery. Houston has a number of free agents now in the offseason. You wonder if these guys are going to be back next year.
Jim,
so they have a lot of decisions to make.
They do have some, but this is the fewest number in the NFL.
So they have a lot of guys under
contract. Only one of them, Brad Hopkins here, is an offensive player. You've got the other guys. Blaine Bishop is the guy that they're probably going to put the franchise designation on, either him or linebacker Michael Barrow. Those two guys. Chris Dishman has already told him, he says, you know, if God tapped me on the shoulder and told me to play, I'd probably retire before coming back here. He's probably not going to be back with that group of defensive backs. But this is a good team. There's not going to be a lot of changeover. There's going to be a lot of continuity next year.
And I think they have found their quarterback that will start the year next year in Steve McNair. Tremendous performance today. He threw a touchdown pass. He completed 79% of his passes on the day. He ran for a touchdown. And the Oilers win it here this afternoon in Baltimore, 24-21. They win by 3, and now they go to 500 as they finish the season at 8 wins, 8 losses, 1 better than Fisher's team of last year. Plus, they went 6-2 on the road this year.
You know, one of the questions we asked to both coaches yesterday, because I think we saw a game out here today that was competitive and very, very well played. It was a hard-fought game. One of the questions we asked yesterday, Jim, was, well, what is the motivation? What motivates these teams? Neither of them are in the hunt for the playoffs. What's going to make them play hard? And the question was, these guys have pride. They want to be out there. They're going to play because they're professionals.
So you see the players heading off. The regular season is over. We'll be back to wrap it up. Houston wins today by 3, 24-21.